The developments in the aviation sector happening real quick and fast. Well, as you might have seen in the opening slide there, Benjamin Okewo joins us now. He's the president of Air Transport Senior Staff Services of Nigeria. That's ATSAN.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you. Good morning, Nigerians.
It's ATSAN, the leading union, that's caused this stare that we're facing now, wherein passengers are having difficulties to fly or disrupting the activities of Arik, as they say.
No, I wouldn't say that, but incidentally, we have what we call the Joint Aviation Trade Union Forum. And incidentally, I happen to be the chairman of the Joint Aviation Union Forum. The forum comprises of all the unions in the aviation industry, both at the level of the ministry and the parastatals.
Okay, so why did that forum do what they did? They did it, right?
Yeah, the unions, the workers in the aviation industry decided to take their destinies in their hands.
What happened? Why?
You are talking about what happened yesterday in Arik? Well, we are affiliated to Trade Union Congress, and then the other unions are also affiliated to NLC. What that means by implication is that there is nothing we do without getting clearance or approval from the President General of the Trade Union Congress or the Secretariat. Basically, the issue of Arik and other indebtor airlines have been on for a very long time. We've gone through a lot of process making complaints, even to the National Assembly, to the President. There was a time, there was a committee at the point when the crisis between the unions and Mavis was on. There was a meeting between the three ministers and these issues was critically raised. Because even when Mavis was on board in Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, most of these airlines were not paying. And we realized that the life of a worker is in three phases. You have it today, which means that at the end of the month, you expect to get your salary. You have it tomorrow, which is talking about the job security, that the organization will exist for you to continue to work. And then you have a future, which talks about your pension and your gratuity. Now, what we have existing now in all these parastatals is just the today. There's no tomorrow and there's no future. And we got very scared. As union leaders, we have to be proactive. We got scared because every day the debt profile keeps increasing. A lot of activities are grounded to the extent that some of these parastatals are finding it very difficult to perform their statutory responsibilities. And you know, aviation must be safety compliance.
So why do you think that they were allowed to go on operating until yesterday, where the union took their destiny in their hands, as you say?
As union leaders, we follow due processes. And that is why I took you through all the process of going to the National Assembly to express the fear that we have concerning the continual indebtedness of the airlines to the various parastatals.
When was that?
Last year. We were there. There was a meeting between the three ministers, Minister of Aviation, Minister of Labour, and then the Attorney General of the Federation. And the Attorney General, I remember vividly, asked a very critical question. NCA, why have you not grounded Arik? Why have you allowed Arik to continue to operate without paying? Because the explanation was that if a businessman owes you 1 billion naira, he would prefer to use 200 million naira to fight you so that he doesn't pay the 1 billion naira.
Why did he single out Arik?
No, basically because if you look at the debt profile at that time, 85% of the debt was from Arik. So it is not as if they are singling out Arik. But if you look at Arik, is the big bird in the industry today. Arik has about 29 flights, aircrafts, machines flying. They do about close to 80 frequencies a day.
You know what I don't understand here?
Yes.
I'm looking at a sheet here I have showing what Arik alleged owes, they say oil companies, some other people, and all the names. I'm not seeing any of the unions here. So why would the union take it upon themselves to carry out all of this when it doesn't show that Arik owes your union a dime?
I know the question will come up, but the answer is very, very simple. We are workers. We work in organizations. These organizations are old. There are several allowances several payments that the workers should get. They cannot get it because every of your budgeting is done based on the revenue that you propose or you assume will be accrued to you. And if for 2-3 years airlines are not paying, of course your revenues will go down. I give you an instance. We got approvals from the Salaries and Wages Commission for salary increases for our workers as a result of the 18%, 18,000 naira minimum wage. As we speak, so these parastatals cannot implement it because the budget, which there was proposal, is not met with actual. It's not related to
what was the logic there, Mr. Okewu?
Yeah.
I work in an organization, and maybe an agency or someone owes my organization.
Yes.
I leave the studios, I go picket that agency because I feel that agency hasn't paid my organization, so it affects my well-being here. Now, the whole issue you're painting now before the people is that, the government's agencies haven't paid your workers.
Yes.
Shouldn't you have labor issues with them instead of taking it out on Arik? This is not a labor matter, is it?
What we are doing basically is what we call revenue drive.
Revenue drive.
Revenue drive.
By the unions?
Yes.
Wow.
Revenue drive by the unions. And we have targeted that, yes, this is the airline that is owing us.
Wait a minute. Doesn't the agencies have their departments that embark on their revenue drive?
The agencies have departments that undertake revenue drive. There was even a task force.
So why
but we realized that at a point when the task force was going around to ensure that airlines that owe money were paid, there were political interferences. Political interferences.
How do you mean?
What do we mean by that is that, okay, the normal operation by the task force then was, we come to an airline today and we say, well, you are owing, for instance, 500 million naira. You need to service your debt. We are not saying clear the whole debt, but you need to service your debt. What can you pay today? Are you getting what I'm saying? And then they come up to say, okay, we have 50 million naira to pay, we have 100 naira to pay. Most of these airlines are servicing.
Okay.
But there's a particular airline that has never serviced their airline, their debt.
Okay, just as I said, is this a trade dispute between Labour and Arik?
I gave you an instance now. I just explained everything vividly. It's fundamental.
No, we don't see the dots. We can't connect the dots. Is this
what
a trade
you are not
dispute?
connecting is that the life wire of the worker is being threatened. If the organization does not exist, I just told you now, there are issues happening.
It is not the duty or responsibility of the union to go on a revenue drive.
What is the duty of the union?
You tell us.
The survival of the organization is one of the paramount responsibility of the union.
You know, that was why we asked.
That
was why we asked the MD if he doesn't think that there's some kind of ineptitude in the on the part of the workers of FAAN. If the workers, maybe some of them are also members of your union, haven't been carried out their duty effectively by asking people to pay what they should pay, it then means that, well, there's some kind of lapse somewhere. So you don't take that out on the airliner when you know it's an in-house affair.
No, let's get how this thing works. What are the schedule of a worker? The responsibility of a worker, who is of course either in commercial, is to ensure that every services that FAAN renders is captured and the adequate bill issued. And when you issue to the airline, in aviation we operate what we call a 30 days grace.